In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to make your own vocal preset that matches your own voice. So yeah, if you do end up enjoying this video, please do like and subscribe. It really does help me out. Without further ado, let's get on to the video.
Back then you told me you hate me. Haven't felt the same since you just played me.
Okay, let's just get started. So obviously this song is very kind of indie, but in this video, because mixing, there is always these fundamental same things that you want to keep kind of similar. Don't worry, even if this is not your style of music, you can definitely, this video will help you out. The first thing you want to do on any of your vocal mixing tracks is you got to find out the key to your beat. So there's a few ways of doing this. My personal favorite way, if you have the money, is using auto key, which is really good. All you do is play the beat and then it'll tell you the key of the beat. Or you can use other great websites like TuneBat, which is completely free. Okay, once you found out the key of your beat, so mine is G major, you want to use your own Autotune, any Autotune you have. Most of them are probably fine. The one I use is Autotune Pro, but you could also use Auto Pitch, which is a great Autotune. You could use Autotune EVO, which is also really good, but I just personally use Autotune Pro. Also, you can use Pitcher, which comes with FL Studio. So all you want to do is every Autotune is the same. You just want to find where it says key and scale and then set it to what your thing said. So mine said G major. And then what you always want to do is you just want to check if this is correct. So the way I do this is just setting the retune speed to 0, listening to the track that I put it on, and just checking if it sounds right, because not always these websites that you use are going to be correct. So just have a listen to it first.
Back then you told me you hate me. Haven't felt the same since you just played me.
So yeah, that sounds completely fine. Okay, so now obviously, unless you're going for some T-Pain type style, you don't really want to be having your retune speed 0. So what I normally do, especially for these indie kind of things, I stick it around 10 to 20. So I'm gonna put it on like 14, and then for flex tune, you just want to turn that up a little bit. Obviously, if you want to do a bit more rap, you can probably turn down the flex tune, turn up the retune speed, or some songs don't even need auto-tune in the first place, and then you can fully just skip the step. Okay, now let's move on to the next essential thing that you need in most of your mixes. Well, not most, basically every vocal mix is EQ. And there's a lot of different ways to do EQ, but there are some fundamental rules that you need to kind of stick by. So when it comes to recording vocals, you never need any of the low end. So I would just go ahead and remove that out. How much you want to remove out is kind of up to you, but I normally just say where it says low mid, stick around there, maybe around here. Especially with different types of microphones. Some microphones already have it with the low ends cut out, and there's definitely switches on different microphones that do that. If you're not sure on what to do for your microphone, I would look up your microphone and look up EQ charts for your microphone, and it'll tell you kind of the best settings. But the things you want to stick to is always removing the lows. And if you want to make your vocals sound more crisp, which I personally do, you boost the trebles a bit, and also you can boost the mids a bit for a bit more like mid-range sound. The best way to do it is just listen as you're doing it and then just see if it sounds good or not. Another tip, you never ever want to be boosting more than the amount I'm kind of doing. Maybe a little bit more if you really want to exaggerate it, but you never want to be boosting like this much, because that will just ruin your whole mix. You want to stick around there. And then also the same thing with your cutting. You want to keep it around there. So let's have a listen to that now.
Back then you told me you hate me.
And also another tip, you can scroll on each of these little buttons to change the actual slope of the cuts and boosts that you did. Now also, if you want to make your vocal sound a bit more tight, even more with the EQ, you can always go ahead and add a second EQ, which I'm going to do ahead now. But this is obviously optional. You don't have to add the 2 EQs, but you can if you want. Around the same, the low end, and also boost a bit more of these and a bit more of these. This is optional. You don't have to do that.
Back then you told me you hate me. Haven't felt the same since you...
Okay, that's sounding good. Now, the next thing you want to add is a compressor. So I'm just going to be using Fruity Compressor. You can use Fruity Multiband Compressor. The only difference here with multiband compressors and normal compressors is these compressors, you can get a bit more specific with your compression, as you can compress like different ranges of EQ with this compressor. So if you want to get really in detail, use a multiband compressor. But honestly, a normal compressor will work just fine. Now for compressors, it's very preference, but the first thing you always want to be setting on a compressor is the threshold. The threshold is like going to be the point where it actually starts like acting. So yeah, you just want to probably figure out where it sounds the best. So for my threshold, I'm going to do around 20. And then the ratio is how much compression you actually want to be happening. So if you want really like a lot of compression, then around here, that's like high compression. But I'm going to stick around like 5, probably. And now have a listen to it.
back then you told me you hate me.
So as you can hear, this compression has made the actual vocal sound quieter. So to fix that, you want to boost the gain knob and just make it sound back to the normal level. So yeah, that's compression. Okay, the next thing you want to do, this is not necessary, but I would actually add it, is add a noise gate. So noise gates in FL Studio, they have one in the Fruity limiter right down here. Basically what a noise gate will do, if you have loads of fans in your room or loads of background noise which you do not want, this will remove it when you're not actually singing. So I don't think I have a lot in this one, but you can probably hear, yeah, like over here you can hear. So these are all background noises which I don't really want in my track, so using a noise gate will fix that. And the way you use a noise gate is turn the gain down the whole way, boost the threshold, and then really good thing with this limiter that FL Studio has is when you play the track you can actually see it visually. With this threshold line, you want to be removing all the parts that you don't want. So there isn't a lot on my track again. You want to boost this so it's just removing the background noise. And you don't want to make it too much because then it will sound like really strange in the actual, like the vocals will sound kind of strange. So I'm gonna stick around here. And then release is how fast the noise gate stops acting. So the higher you turn this up, the slower it will stop acting, and the faster it will just like instantly shut and open. Okay, the next thing you want to add if you have lots of S's and P's in your vocals is a de-esser. And in FL Studio, a de-esser is Maximus. And personally, what I do is I just use one of the presets called de-esser split band.
Felt the same since.
So you can see the S's here.
Felt the same since.
There's a lot of S's there. And then if you want to change it, you can mess with this here. And that will just mess with the amount you want to remove it. And you also drag this.
Felt the same since you just played me. It brought me down on
you
my
see,
knees.
if you turn it up a lot, it'll have a lot of muffled noise. So you just want to do it a little bit.
Felt the same since you just played me. It brought me down on my knees. You couldn't save me. It brought me down on my knees.
Okay, that sounds about good. And that is basically, for making your own presets, that is the basis of what all vocal mixes will have. It will definitely have those things. Now, from now on, it's just adding and making it sound more unique. So all the different presets you see always have these base things, and it's just things added on top, like effects and stuff. But normally one thing that I'm missing is some kind of like saturation plugin. And there's definitely like better ones out there like Fresh Air and stuff. But as we're sticking to stock plugins, I'm gonna use Soundgoodizer. And to be honest, I'm not too sure how this works, but the way I normally do it is I just stick it around here from the beginning. And then just going through, listening to it with the track and seeing which different button here sounds better. So I'm gonna do that right now.
Brought me down on my knees, you couldn't save me. It brought me down on my knees.
So yeah, I think right there, A sounds good. Okay, from now on out, it's just adding effects like reverb and delay. So yeah, I'm gonna show you a really cool secret plugin that FL Studio has if you wanna be adding cool effects. So if you search up Patcher, and then go to the presets and use this one right here, parallel aux, and load it in. It will give you all of these different hall, broom, chorus, delay, different things. So if you just want to speed up the process of adding effects, you can just add this, and right there you can just add delay, hall, room, reverb, chorus, and stuff like that.
You hate me, haven't felt the same since you just played me. It brought me down on my knees, you couldn't say.
So yeah, I really like that delay, so I'm actually going to keep using that one. But I'm going to show you now reverb. So I'm going to use the reverb, and personally, I just like turn the size down and just a bit up on the wet.
You hate me, haven't felt the same.
And then I'll just turn it down on the actual knob here.
You hate me, haven't felt the same since you just played me.
And then some other things you can add are flanges, choruses, and other things like that. I think I'm just going to add a chorus, so I feel like that will work quite well. This is all kind of just trial and error. Like, if you don't like an effect, you can always remove it and add something else. So I don't know if this will sound great, but I'm just going to try it anyway. And I think I'm just going to leave it with the default and turn down the mix level.
You hate me, haven't felt the same since you just.
And all that chorus does, it just basically offsets your vocals, so it plays it again and again, but you can't really hear that, so it just sounds fuller and like more wide. And then yeah, that is basically what you want to do. Now all you want to do is keep listening to it with the beat, adjusting things that you don't think sound completely correct. So like maybe my Autotune, I can turn it up a little bit more, mess around with the EQ if I think there's too much highs, or turn up the reverb, which I actually think I'm gonna do. And then also one thing, if you do run out of inserts like we did right now, you can always just click on your track, click down here, and then right click and set to this track only, and then you'll be able to add more inserts here, but I don't think I'm gonna do this for this track. Okay, yeah, I think that sounds pretty good. So yeah, for making Adlibs, basically it's kind of the same thing. So what I normally do is I go here, right click, press file, save mixer track state, and then just save it as just anything random. It doesn't actually need to be saved. And then just dragging that back in on the Adlibs. So I'm going to do that for both the Adlibs. That one. Okay, so I have 2 Adlib tracks, but we're just going to stick with this one now. So yeah, with Adlibs, there is a bunch of different things you can do. Honestly, like, it gets really creative when it comes to making Adlibs. That's really how you make your voice and track sound unique. But normally you definitely want it to be a lot more reverbed, a lot more airy and open. So what I'm going to do is, because I try hitting a lot more high notes, as you can hear over here.
Say you love me.
So yeah, that's quite high. I'm thinking I'm going to turn up the Autotune like quite a lot, almost to 0. As in the actual mix, you won't be able to hear it that much because it'll be turned out and drowned like in reverb. I'm also going to remove the delay on this one because I don't want the same delay to be happening on the main and the Adlib track. So I'm going to remove that, and I'm going to turn up the reverb quite a bit. Okay, and then I'm also going to turn up the chorus a bit more.
Back then you told me you hate me.
And then some other things you can do with Adlibs, like I know a lot of people do, is they add another EQ and then set it to this and just make a kind of telephone kind of voice.
Back then you told me you hate me.
So then it kind of just stands out between the main and the Adlib track. So yeah, actually I think for this track I am going to do that, so I'll add this. And then obviously, this is quite obvious but very important, you want to turn it down compared to your main vocals, like it's like this. Now all you got to do is the final track, which is this. So it's just a bunch of me just going crazy singing. So I'm going to do pretty similar things. Remove the delay. I'm going to turn the Autotune to max because I really can't sing. And then I think I'm going to turn up the reverb like even more on this one. And like that. And I'm also going to add the same EQ cut. Turn it down. And I want this one to be even quieter than the other Adlibs because it's just kind of a background fill.
Back then you told me you hate me. Haven't felt the same since you just played me.
Okay, that is sounding pretty good, and that is basically how you want to mix vocals. Now, there's obviously a lot more things you can do to make your preset sound even more unique. There is a ton of videos out on YouTube. There's definitely some on my channel that you can check out that just have like even more tips and just like more in detailed tricks on how to do like reverbs and other like chops and stutters and everything else, like bit crushing. There's a whole universe of different things you can do when making presets, but that is kind of the basics and kind of like how I go about making mixes. So yeah, if this video did help you, please do leave a like and subscribe. It really helps me out. I'm gonna play before and after right at the end again just to show you how it sounds before and after. But anyways guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.